Anna Kendrick makes her directorial debut with Woman of the Hour on Netflix, and let me tell you, it's a wild ride. The movie is based on real events, which I didn't even realize until after watching, and that made it even more unsettling. It's about a wannabe actress in 1970s LA who ends up on the dating game, only to find out she's sitting next to a freaking serial killer. Yeah, you heard that right. So, Daniel Zovatto plays Rodney Alcala, the actual killer, and the guy is both charming and creepy at the same time. You're watching him all smooth and casual, interacting with people like it's no big deal, while he's secretly racking up victims. Throughout the movie, we get these eerie glimpses of his encounters with women. He's all nice at first, but then it takes a dark, violent turn. And Zovatto? He nails it. You hate his character, but you can't deny the dude can act. Then there's Anna Kendrick, who also stars as Cheryl, this aspiring actress just trying to make it big. She's good, but if you've seen her in other stuff, it's kind of what you'd expect. Sarcasm, charm, the usual Anna Kendrick vibes. That said, she dials it down a bit here, which fits the movie, but don't expect anything super surprising from her performance. Now, here's where the movie surprised me. I thought the dating game part was going to be just a side story, but it ends up being the main focus. And while it's important to the plot, the really intense, messed up stuff happening outside the game show is what grabs you. Honestly, they could have left out the game show entirely and focused more on the deeper, darker aspects of Rodney's life, and it would have hit even harder. One of the things that stood out to me was how the film shows how oblivious people were to Rodney's dark side. He was just this regular guy to everyone, smiling and blending in, and no one had a clue he was capable of such horrific stuff. The contrast between his outward charm and the brutal violence he inflicted is just chilling. Speaking of violence, there are some pretty rough scenes. It's not overly graphic, but what you do see is disturbing. If you've got a weak stomach, brace yourself. Kendrick, as the director, doesn't go overboard though, which I appreciated. The violence feels real and raw without being exploitative. She handles those moments well for sure. The movie's only about 95 minutes, and I honestly think they could have gone deeper. There's so much more to explore about how Rodney managed to hide in plain sight for so long, and we could have seen more of his interactions without necessarily showing all the violence. The dating game parts felt a bit forced, like they were shoehorned in, when the real gold is in the darker side of the story. Overall, the movie is tense and unsettling in parts, but it feels a little choppy. It's like we're watching bits and pieces of events rather than getting a fully fleshed-out story. Zovatto, though, total standout. He brings this living nightmare of a character to life, someone who seems emotionally stable but is actually completely unhinged. Kendrick does a solid job directing, especially with the balance of violence and suspense, but the film as a whole doesn't stick with you like some other crime thrillers. I'd give Woman of the Hour 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's good, but not great. Definitely worth watching if you're into true crime, but it's not a must-see. So, let's talk about it. What's your favorite serial killer movie? If we're talking real life, for me it's gotta be Zodiac by David Fincher. For fictional, I'm going with Seven, also by Fincher. I guess I've got a type. Drop your picks in the comments, and if you liked this review, give it a thumbs up, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. This is Green Hood Studios. Catch you next time.